In Module 6.1, we examined how the administrative process unfolds once a complaint is filed. In Module 6.2, we explored how increased clarity makes discipline more predictable and ambiguity-based defenses weaker. Now we arrive at the most practical question of the entire course. What actually triggers complaints in 2025? Because violations rarely begin with dramatic misconduct. They begin with small, everyday decisions. A rushed post, an undocumented agreement, a forgotten status update, a missing review process. This final section brings everything together by identifying the most common violation triggers in modern Arizona real estate practice and tying them directly to the rule changes we've studied. Advertising errors. Advertising remains the #1 visibility-based trigger for complaints. Why? Because it is public, it is screenshot-ready, it is searchable. Under modernized Article 5 standards, advertising errors typically involve misleading AI-enhanced images, incomplete brokerage identification, unapproved team names or DBA usage, coming soon posts without proper authority, unauthorized occupancy language in captions. Let's walk through a real-life pattern. An agent posts a beautifully staged AI rendering that removes visible property damage. The brokerage name is difficult to locate. A competitor screenshots the post and files a complaint. The department reviews the post, the MLS listing, and the transaction file. Now the investigation expands. Was the image misleading? Was the brokerage clearly identified? Was the agent supervised appropriately? One post. Multiple articles involved. Advertising errors are easy to detect and easy to prove because the evidence is public. In a digital enforcement environment, your marketing is permanently reviewable. That is why advertising discipline has become more predictable. Clarity plus visibility equals higher enforcement exposure. Compensation, non-disclosure. Chapter 4 made one principle clear. If compensation flows, disclosure follows. Yet non-disclosure of compensation remains one of the most common complaint triggers. This often involves builder incentives not disclosed, referral splits not documented, commission rebates promised without broker approval, side agreements outside brokerage systems. Let's create a scenario that mirrors real enforcement cases. A buyer later discovers that their agent received a financial incentive from a preferred lender. The buyer claims they were never informed. The transaction file lacks a written disclosure. The department does not ask whether the agent intended to mislead. It asks whether the disclosure was documented and timely. If it is missing, risk increases. Compensation non-disclosure strikes at fiduciary alignment. And as we learned earlier, fiduciary trust is the foundation of Title 32 enforcement authority. Money always leaves a trail. If the trail is incomplete, scrutiny follows. Unauthorized activity, while inactive. Chapter 2 introduced the updated inactive license status under R4-28-307. Inactive status allows renewal without continuing education and avoids retesting, but it prohibits licensed activity. This is where agents often miscalculate. They believe, I'm just helping a friend, or I'm not getting paid, means the activity is harmless. It is not. Negotiation is licensed activity. Listing property is licensed activity. Advertising real estate services is licensed activity. Drafting offers is licensed activity. If you are inactive and you perform these acts, you risk enforcement. Imagine this scenario. An agent places their license on inactive status temporarily. During that time, they assist a family member in negotiating a home purchase and communicate with the listing agent about price adjustments. A complaint arises unrelated to the transaction itself. The department reviews license status. If the agent was inactive during negotiation, the violation becomes straightforward. Inactive means no licensed activity. Intent does not erase status. Clarity increases risk for those who overlook administrative compliance. Broker supervision failures. The final trigger is structural rather than individual. Supervision failures under R4 28-1103 often arise when brokers lack written policies, consistent file review systems, or advertising oversight procedures. Many enforcement cases now follow this pattern. An agent commits a violation. The department reviews brokerage supervision systems. If systems are weak or non-existent, discipline expands. Supervision failures are not limited to large brokerages. Small offices without formal structure are equally exposed. Let's connect this to everything we've studied. If advertising is misleading and no review system exists, supervision is questioned. If compensation disclosures are inconsistent and file review is sporadic, supervision is questioned. If agents are unclear about inactive status restrictions, supervision is questioned. Supervision is not just a broker's problem. It shapes the compliance culture that protects every agent in the office. The pattern behind all triggers. When you step back, a consistent pattern emerges. Violations are rarely complex. They are usually visible, undocumented, unauthorized, unsupervised, and because the 2025 modernization reduced ambiguity, these triggers are easier to identify. The department does not need to stretch interpretation. The evidence speaks. The rule language is clear. The enforcement path is structured. A practical protection blueprint. If you want to stay off the radar in 2025, focus on 4 pillars: accuracy in advertising, transparency in compensation, active status compliance, structured supervision. Every complaint trigger in this chapter fits into one of those pillars. Operate within them consistently, and your risk drops dramatically. Ignore them casually, and clarity becomes your exposure. Bringing the entire course together. This course began with a simple concept in Chapter 1. The first major rulemaking since 2005 modernized Arizona real estate regulation. We examined licensure updates, advertising modernization, compensation transparency, professional conduct clarifications, supervision structure, administrative enforcement procedures. The theme has remained consistent. The rules are clearer. The expectations are structured. The enforcement process is more fact-based. Compliance in 2025 is not about memorizing technicalities. It is about operating professionally, documenting consistently, and respecting structure. Clarity is not your enemy. It is your roadmap.